Hello folks, Drew here, KO4TWQ, call sign, amateur radio operator, and just wanted to do a little video for y'all, just comparing the two different portable antennas, vertical options, the Wolf River Coil, Take It Along, and the BuddiStick Pro. Both good antennas. I think if you look at the specifications, you'll see you can get a little bit more band coverage with the Wolf River Coil. They're similar antennas enough that I think a lot of people might go, well, I could go either way, but which one, might be better for me, because there are some differences. I'll start with the construction. Obviously, the BuddiStick Pro is kind of used as a tent pole leg. It's flexible, it's light, it's fairly easy to set up, but in a good wind, you could have some issues. You take and kick these legs out a little bit, it'll stabilize it some, and it'll sit there pretty good. If the wind really kicks up, you can't really put something against the legs to weight it down or what have you, but it does come with this cord that you can screw into the bottom of the tripod. You screw that cord into the bottom of the tripod and put a $2 tent stake underneath it and cleat the cord to the stake. I did that before my in-fed half wave that's in my front yard now for the house came in, and watched a storm blow through, and the BuddiStick Pro sat there the whole time. It never blew over, didn't blow away. Maybe not recommended, but it works. So if you're operating under windy conditions, that's something to take into account. The Wolf River Coil, pretty stout. It's got metal legs. If you're going somewhere to do a Parks on the Air or a Summit on the Air, you could probably just take your pack and lay it across one of those legs to weight it down if you wanted to. There's really no way to attach anything to the bottom of it, because the bottom of the Wolf River Coil is where the coax attaches. Beyond that, both of these antennas have a telescopic whip on them, and they both rely on a coil system to tune them. They both have counterpoise wires. The Wolf River Coil uses a 3-wire system that you just lay out on the ground, and that's it. Those 3 wires are there. I'm sure you could put more wires on it if you wanted to. I don't know how much that would help. They say more is better, but there's a point of diminishing returns too. And think about how many of those you want to wind back up when you get done. The BuddiStick Pro only has a single counterpoise wire. That counterpoise wire is marked for different bands. You uncoil more of it, obviously, for the longer bands, and less of it for the shorter bands. And they really want you to get that up off the ground. And so the one thing that I don't have with me right now is an electric fence stake that you can get at any of your home improvement stores, or if you live somewhere mildly agricultural, a tractor supply store, or a Rural King, probably your farmers cooperative would have them. They're inexpensive, $2-3, and it really makes it easier to get the counterpoise up where you want it with that. Downside, a lot of times you're either going to be relying on shrubs, which I've got some trees, but not really any shrubs here to elevate that counterpoise with right now. So you gotta, stick that stake in the ground a little bit. If it's really rocky, it's going to be hard to stick that stake in the ground. Do like the Wolf River Coil, to just throw it out there, but again, it's a little bit more to pack up because you got to wind up 3 counterpoises. As far as band agility, because that's really the only other thing that sets these antennas apart, is how you adjust the bands on them. The Wolf River Coil, you have this large unmarked coil. You could presumably mark it and adjust this collar up and down the coil. Now I'm on a longer wavelength than I was before because I'm using more of the coil. The BuddiStick Pro has got these handy little plugs on them I'm not going to talk too much about it because both of these antennas, if you want to know details about how they work, there are great reviews for both of these antennas all over YouTube, but there are no comparisons really, and that's what I want to do, is just talk about these plugs are great. If you have them in a place where you know what the band is, you just unplug, replug, you can change bands, change the length of the counterpoise. You may have to reset your stake to do that, or if you draped over a shrub, you know, whatever. Is pretty straightforward. May have to fiddle with the height of the counterpoise a little bit. That's going to affect your SWR on the BuddiStick Pro. The Wolf River Coil, if you are on a band, which is harder to find a band, you just kind of slide that down, check with your antenna analyzer if you've got one, however you want to do that. But you find the band you want to be on, and then let's say you're doing parks on the air. You do some sideband, and let's say you want to maybe do a little bit of little FT8 POTA, but the SWR, it is a little bit higher Q, the Wolf River Coil. I think it tends to be a little bit narrower when it's tuned than the BuddiStick. But if you want to retune, you don't have to do a whole lot. You can just twist this, and it'll adjust the SWR up or down the band where that dip is. Y'all are familiar with the chart. It's nothing groundbreaking. With the BuddiStick Pro, if you want to retune, you may have to within the band, you may have to fiddle with your counterpoise a little bit. You might have to. There are five areas. I think 5 areas where these plugs can fit into this coil on the Wolf River Coil. You may have to unscrew that and move it around. It's a little bit fiddly. You've got to unplug it to do that. That's not a huge deal. I mean, it's that easy. Plug it, unplug it. But you can't unscrew it enough with it plugged in to change that tap screw. So a little fiddly. Not a big deal. Weight, there's a weight difference between the two. I don't want to talk about it because if you're concerned enough about weight for the difference in weight between these two packages to make up the difference on which one you want, honestly, you're probably going to take a wire like a 1010 in-fed half-wave and throw it up in a tree somewhere anyway, and you're going to be a whole lot better off because you can carry that in your pocket. But I can put both of these in one of the, I've got one backpack that I take with me when I play radio. I can fit both of them in the backpack at the same time. Not a big deal. They're both great antennas. I've used them both a good bit. Had them both set up at the house and used them while I was waiting for my in-fed half-wave to come in there. Zero issues with either one of these antennas. Lots of contacts on both of them. Got nothing bad to say about either one of them. I went and bought both of them because I didn't know which one might suit me best, and it turns out I'm going to keep both of them because under different circumstances, I feel like there's always a situation where one might work better than the other one for me. There are tuning options. You can buy longer telescopic whips, get on more bands, but that's the basics. That's both of these antennas as they came out of the package. I'm not, there's been no customization on these. That's just, what you get for what's on the package. Both of them do what they say they do. They both do it very well. And I hope that the comparison between the two and some talking points on that gives you some idea maybe which one might suit you better for your own personal uses. This first video on my channel about ham radio was, this is Josh's fault from Ham Radio Crash Course. I know y'all probably know who he is. I don't need to say go check him out. Go check him out. He's awesome. Check out his podcast. He and his wife do an awesome podcast. And this is kind of born of some questions that I asked him. And then I said, you know what? I'm just going to do this. And anyway, he said you should make a video about that. And so here's the video, Josh. Here's the video, everybody else. I hope you all enjoy it. And what the heck? I'm doing ham radio videos. Look for more of them.